Vice President Maybelline was making the rounds, attempting to defend his boss and the chairman of the FCC with a new fairy tale even a 5-year-old wouldn't believe.
Celebrities are rallying to his cause, saying this is a First Amendment assault being carried out by the FCC, Brendan Carr, and by the President of the United States himself. And to that, you say?
Well, there are two things. First of all, I'd like them to tell me exactly what Brendan Carr did to have Jimmy Kimmel taken off the air, because number one, he is currently on the air, and to the extent that he isn't in certain stations, it's because he's not funny and because his ratings aren't very good.
I have some good news for you, J-Dog. We're back on all the stations.
The noise level of the Brooklyn crowd is powerful enough to shake the rafters. Jimmy Kimmel leaves like a man who has just received the keys to his own home while the band is grinning. He hits the vanity with the first thing he says, aiming past the politicians. Maybelline, the vice president, the room blows apart.
I mean to interrupt your bullshit. Go on.
There's something else that's important here, Laura, which is that these broadcast companies, ABC, NBC, CBS, they enjoy the public airwaves because they serve the public interest. So I actually think that we should be having a conversation about whether these companies are serving the public interest. That's actually totally separate from the Jimmy Kimmel issue because nothing happened to him. He's currently on the air, and to the extent that he's not, it's because advertisers don't like him because his ratings aren't very good.
My ratings aren't very good. Last time I checked, your ratings were somewhere between a hair in your salad and chlamydia. In 3.5 years, I'm not the one who's going to be doing mascara tutorials on YouTube.
That's how you know. J.D. Vance chose the incorrect sport. In a mock altercation, he carried talking points. If you agree with Jimmy Kimmel, please subscribe and share your favorite thing about him. Although I've seen Kimmel attack presidents and senators for years, this campaign against Vance feels unique. It's more than just a roast. There is a pattern. Vance makes up a story. The clip is rolled by Kimmel. After that, he gives it the ideal label.
How did we wind up with a president and a vice president who wear more makeup than Kylie Jenner and Lady Gaga combined?
According to Vance, low ratings caused Kimmel's show to be pulled from some stations. Now that he is back on all of his affiliates, Kimmel stands in Brooklyn and begs for patience, using the old-fashioned ABC method. The show is once again shown on every station. Then he uses the mascara bit to twist the knife. I won't be the one posting YouTube beauty instructions in 3.5 years.
A lot of pressure on J.D. Vance tonight. J.D. Vance hasn't been under a microscope like this since his wife asked him why the couch was so sticky. But Trump had good advice. He told him, just have fun. And you know what? It seems like he did.
I want to answer the question, but I want to actually give an introduction to myself a little bit because I recognize a lot of Americans don't know who either one of us are.
That's how you get the single cat ladies back on your side. You know, in some ways, you can't help but you kind of feel sympathy for J.D. Vance having to defend Donald Trump, who he himself openly denounced. It's kind of like being Diddy's defense attorney, you know?
And that's Kimmel's approach. Give the vanity a name. Pop it. Proceed. But you have to go back to the Springfield pet panic to see why Kimmel is so mercilessly effective with Vance. Recall that Vance spread the myth that immigrants from Haiti were consuming people's pets in Springfield, Ohio. According to local officials, there were no reliable reports. It made no difference. In any case, the indignation machine buzzed.
In fact, both candidates were pretty darn polite to each other.
First of all, Tim just said something that I agree with. I agree. And I actually think I agree with you. I actually agree with Tim Walz.
I agree with a lot of what Senator Vance said. Governor, I agree with you. I agree with that.
And I think that Governor Walz and I actually probably agreed.
Well, Trump is not going to like that at all. You're in a lot of trouble, J.D. I was kind of hoping they'd ask the candidates like some fun questions. Like, you know, they used to do that. Like, is a hot dog a sandwich? And then J.D. Vance would stare into the camera and say, when you're from Haiti, any dog can be a sandwich. But they didn't. They could have used a lot more talk about cats and dog eating.
Kimmel didn't debate policy that evening. On live TV, he did something more cunning and cruel. He displayed the number for Vance's D.C. office and asked viewers to call with their own absurd admissions. Inform them that a cupcake business made your children gay. Inform them that your feline is stealing jobs. The audience identified the scammer and let forth a yell. There was no argument. It was a parody of how simple it is to create a monster when the reality is uninteresting.
Last night he posted an announcement. He said, I will be doing a personal play-by-play of the debate tomorrow between the brilliant J.D. Vance and the highly inarticulate tampon Tim Walz. I hope that cognitively challenged lion Kamala Harris will be listening so that she can again show the world how she will make up false facts and stories. I will be commenting on what is going on. Watch Truth Social tomorrow night. Watch Truth Social.
Kimmel continued to add chapters. There was an AI joke about Vance's vibe next to Tim Walz that combined two people from 2.5 men into a single person. Perfectly mean, quick hit. 3 days of meme fodder. Then came the statement that still makes me cringe a little because it is so simple. A human being's hollow shell. He didn't make a show of it. He didn't hedge. Staring into the camera and letting the 5 sentences speak for themselves might sometimes be the most damaging thing you can do.
So on the biggest night of J.D. Vance's career, his running mate, he's telling his followers, watch me on Truth Social commenting on it. And here is some video of Mar-a-Lago watching tonight from home.
Now, the person closest to them, Donald Trump, said he's unfit for the highest office. That was Senator Vance. What we've seen out of
I like what he's done with his bathroom.
This is where everything comes together. Kimmel consistently incorporates Vance back into the larger MAGA narrative, in which Trump occupies the central position like a black hole consuming light. He uses receipts for this. For example, Trump gave a clear, unequivocal denial when asked if he saw Vance as a successor during the Super Bowl festivities. Kimmel rolled that video like an essay grader. He lingered with his brows raised, and it was clear that everyone in the room realized Vance's true situation.
You know, as civil as the debate was, the troll-in-chief was not. He didn't like the fact that Tim Walz uses the word folks. He wrote, folks, tampon Tim stealing Crooked Joe's signature catchphrase. Sad. He also didn't like the idea that Tim Walz was taking notes. Why Walz is taking so many notes, never seen a candidate take more. He needs the notes to keep his brain intact. And if that isn't the pumpkin calling the basketball orange, I don't know what is.
Not partner, not accessory, not heir. Without using any words, the punchline wrote itself. Then there are the times when Kimmel applies the brakes hard and Vance attempts to write a tragedy for airtime. Following Charlie Kirk's murder, Vance targeted left-wing discourse. Kimmel called out the hustle in the monologue. The subtext was plain. Mining a moment and grieving over a person are two different things. Kimmel isn't very religious, but he understands when to stop. When a politician walks over it while the cameras are rolling, he sketches it in ink.
Hi, I'm Ohio Senator J.D. Vance. The mainstream media, they want you to think that I'm weird. They call me creepy, cringy, awkward, that I give people something called the ick. They want you to think that I can't order a simple donut. But that's ridiculous. Follow me. Hello?
Hi.
Okay. How long you worked here?
A year?
Okay. Donut.